Hi everyone, Tasha here for Cat Scrappiness. And today we're going to create a fun graduation card. Perfect for graduates of any type of school. You could use this card for kindergarten all the way through college graduation. And it's so easy to make and so cute. So here's just a close-up of what we're going to be creating today. And then the supplies we'll be using is the A2 postcard die. I love this die. We'll also be using the Proud of You sentiment with shadow die. And you see it makes a really pretty shadow behind the words. In addition, we'll be using some enamel dots, this fun star stencil, and we'll be using this cute little sentiment set where you can mix and match words. It's called Happy Day. And we'll be using the Merry Critter stamp set. To begin, we're going to start by die cutting our base, and I'll be using the A2 postcard die. This one is great because once you run it through your die cutter machine, all of those embossed areas will show up, so it looks just like a postcard, and you just have to run it through once. And again, you can use any type of paper for this, and then these little embossed lines show up, making it look like a postcard. Next, I'm going to start by cutting out the shadow of the sentiment, and I'm using gold glitter paper. I thought the gold glitter kind of looked good for a graduation card, and I love everything that has sparkle. So I'm using the gold glitter for the shadow, and then I'll be using a pretty red cardstock for the words. This is also a great way to use up some of your scrap paper since this word or this sentiment is pretty narrow in size. So you could use scraps of paper and also customize with school colors, which would be really fun. So I'm just going with a nice deep red color. I also thought the red would look great with the gold glitter. Next, I'm going to use this cute little owl image. It's from the Merry Critters stamp set. And this is more of a winter or Christmas set, but I just thought this little owl would be really cute for graduation. You see a lot of owls for graduation stamps and cards, so I thought I could just use this little critter and make my own little graduate. So I'm stamping the owl 2 times just so I had 2 images to work with, and I'm using some black hybrid ink. Next, since I have my Misty tool out, I'm going to stamp another greeting. So I'm just going to position the shadow layer on my card so I can line up my stamps. I wanted to have it say Happy Graduation Day from the Happy Day stamp set, but I want to make sure I have it with enough space to have the Proud of You on the top. So that's really great when you have a stamping tool because you can kind of position things and you can mix and match colors like I'm going to be doing with this greeting. So once I had the placement where I wanted it, I started with the word happy. And I'm using just black ink for this word, and I'm just going to stamp it directly onto the postcard. Once I was happy with how that word was stamped, I did stamp it 2 times, I lined up the next word underneath it. And for this one, I'm going to stamp with a red color to go with the colors I'm using throughout this card. So I put the word graduation, lined it up on my Misty tool, and just stamped it in red. And do you see how we're just kind of building onto our postcard? It makes it really easy because there's already lines there, so you can kind of just line it up with the lines to make sure you have a straight sentiment. And then lastly, I'm adding the word day, and I'm using black. So then this way it's black, red, and black. And I just think it looks really great with that color combination. So now on to making our owl a little graduate. So to do this, I'm just taking my little Copic pen and I'm just going to draw a simple graduation cap. This is really easy to do. It's basically just a diamond and then just a point on the head. And do you see? You just make a point, you make a diamond, and then draw 2 lines up to create a little cap. And then it looks just like a graduation cap. I'm going to use a Tombow marker to just fill it in to make sure it's nice and dark. And then you can adjust those lines with the black marker just to make sure everything is straight. I'm using the same marker to draw just a simple gown. This graduation gown is really easy because you just have to kind of color in the bottom area to look like a dress, and then there you go. You have a graduation cap and gown set. I just kind of went around the edges to make sure that everything was straight, and then I went in with some Copic markers to add colors to the little owl. I love this little owl. I think he's so cute. And again, you can make this any school colors you want. I just think it's easier to color on with black because you wouldn't see any of the lines. So I did the black cap and gown, and then I added red just along the top part, so it's kind of like the school colors. Once I was done with all the coloring, I went around with my white gel pen just to add a few more details and to add a little tassel around the cap. So you see just these little extra details really makes it look like a graduation set. So you could do this to anything. You could use any critter or stamp set you want and make it a graduation themed card. And then I cut the little owl out. Once I was done, it's time to start gluing together my words onto the shadow background. So I'm using some liquid adhesive and my little tweezers just to make it easier to position onto that gold shadow. And I'm starting with the top part, which just says proud, and then I'll go back and add the of and then the you. And this goes really fast. I do think it's best to just press down on it firmly just for a couple seconds and even put it aside with something on top of it just to make sure that that liquid adhesive fully dries, especially when you're gluing onto glitter paper. Next, I'm going to add some falling stars. I just love the falling stars stencil. This is a newer stencil from Cat Scrappiness, and it has the really pretty star design because it has stars that are falling down, so you can decide where you want the stars to be falling from, or if you wanted more stars on the bottom. So I just went in with some yellow Distress Oxide ink and just kind of lightly ink blended around the card. And once I was done, it was a little too light. So I decided to go in with an orange color and just kind of lightly again ink blend on top of those areas. This actually gave a really pretty color because of the yellow and the orange mixing together. It just gave a perfect shade for the background. I also went around the edges with the orange color and just picking up some of that extra ink on my craft board and just gave some color around the edges, which I also thought was really pretty with those falling stars. Now, I was going to just have my little owl on the card, but he is pretty small. So I thought to make it more of a little scene for this card, I would add two little trees. These trees are included in the Merry Critters stamp set as well, so I'm stamping them with the same black hybrid ink. And I'm going to be coloring them with Copic markers. And I'm just going in with several shades of green Copic markers, and then I'll be using brown for the tree trunk. And once I was done, I just went around and cut both of the trees out, the same way I did with the owl. And now it's time to assemble. So I'm going to use some foam tape on the back of my Proud of You sentiment, and I'm just going to attach it to that top part where we already planned to position it right in the center. And do you see how nice that looks when it's raised up a little bit? I do like using foam tape, or you could also use just layers of paper behind it just to make it stand up a bit. And then for my little owl area, I decided to go in on the bottom with some green Distress Oxide ink to just make a little bit of a grassy design. And then I'm going to position the two little trees. I'm gluing these trees directly onto the postcard so they'll be flat. I'm just using some glue runner. And I want them spaced out, not too far, but a little bit spaced out so that the owl can be put in the middle. And I'm just using some foam for the owl, so again, it's raised up a little bit. And this owl again is so cute. And then I'm just going to add some little enamel dots. These enamel dots are great. They're yellow, but they're kind of clear as well. And I thought they worked well with the star background. And then lastly, I added a piece of star pattern paper and then attached it to a white card base. I hope you guys enjoyed today's project. All the details will be on the blog and in the description box below. Have a great day. Bye-bye.